A young CEO mocked a single dad for carrying an old phone, thinking he was just another repairman beneath her world. But when a cyber attack froze her entire company, that same outdated phone became the only clean lifeline left. What started as judgment turned into respect, trust, and a quiet romance neither of them saw coming. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Jonah Vale did not look like the kind of man anyone noticed twice inside a glass building like Pham. He arrived at 7:12 in the morning with a dented toolbox in one hand, a paper cup of gas station coffee in the other, and an old gray phone clipped to his belt like something borrowed from another decade. The security guard gave a quick glance. Two young analysts walking past the lobby gave it a longer one. Jonah heard the quiet laugh, but he kept moving. He had learned, after 7 years of raising his daughter alone, that not every small insult deserved a reaction. Some days, silence saved more energy than pride. Pham was a clean, expensive kind of place. Frosted glass, white floors, soft lighting, people walking quickly with badges, tablets, and faces that looked too busy to be kind. Jonah was there to repair a failing backup display system in the main presentation room. Nothing glamorous, just cables, screens, and a nervous operations manager named Kyle who kept checking his watch. The CEO is presenting at 9, Kyle said. Please tell me you can fix this before then. Jonah set down his toolbox. I'll know in 10 minutes. You're calm. I have a 6-year-old daughter who once poured cereal into a heating vent. This is easier. Kyle blinked, then laughed despite himself. That was when Maren Sloan entered. She was 28, sharp-eyed, and dressed in a dark tailored suit that made everyone around her stand straighter. She didn't rush, but the room moved faster because she was in it. Jonah noticed that first. Not her beauty, though she had the kind of face cameras loved. Not her confidence, though it was obvious. He noticed the way people braced before speaking to her. Maren stopped near the table, scanning the dead screen. Kyle, she said, please don't tell me this is our investor demo. Kyle swallowed. The technician is handling it. Her eyes moved to Jonah, then to his phone. For half a second, something almost playful touched her expression. Is it your work phone? She asked. Or a museum piece? The room went quiet enough for Jonah to hear the low hum behind the wall panel. He looked down at the phone, then back at her. It makes calls. So what is a phone made this century? A few people smiled. Not cruelly, but enough. Jonah opened the panel and reached for the cable tester. Newer doesn't always mean safer. Maren tilted her head. That sounds like something people say right before they refuse to update software. Sometimes, Jonah said, and sometimes people update everything except their judgment. Kyle stared at the floor. Maren's smile faded, but she didn't snap back. That surprised Jonah. Most executives he had met either ignored him or performed kindness like it was part of their brand. Maren simply studied him for a moment, like she was trying to decide whether he had insulted her or told the truth. Before she could answer, Jonah's old phone buzzed. He checked it quickly. A message from his daughter's school. Nora forgot her lunch again. His chest softened. Maren noticed. Family, my daughter. You bring that phone for her. I keep it because it always rings. No ops. No distractions. No dead battery by noon. For the first time, Maren's expression changed into something less polished. That must be nice, she said quietly. Jonah looked up. What? Knowing what's important enough to answer. The moment hung there, small but real. Then the main screen flickered back to life. Kyle exhaled like a man spared from disaster. You fixed it. Jonah closed the panel. Temporary. Your backup switch is aging. It needs replacing before it fails during something important. Maren glanced toward the screen, then at Jonah again. Send a report to Kyle. I will. And Jonah, he paused. Her voice was calmer now. I wasn't trying to be unkind. He almost smiled. Most people aren't trying. They just are. That landed harder than he intended. He saw in her face. Before either of them could speak again, the lights across the conference room dimmed once. Then every screen in the room flashed black. A red system warning appeared. Kyle whispered, that's not the display. Maren stepped closer to the screen, her confidence tightening into something else. Jonah's old phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't from Nora. It was an automated security alert from a backup contact list he had registered years ago, back when he still worked incident response and believed he could save every broken system before it hurt someone. He read the message once. Then again, his coffee went cold in his hand. Maren turned to him. Jonah? He looked at her, and the room suddenly felt much smaller. Your company is under attack, he said. For 1 second, nobody moved. Not because they did not believe Jonah. Because every person in that room understood what the red warning meant, but no one wanted to be the first to say it out loud. Maren's voice dropped. Kyle, isolate the presentation network. Kyle tapped his tablet once. Then again, his face drained. It's not responding. One of the analysts near the door whispered, our email is down too. Another said, the finance folder just locked. Marin closed her eyes for half a breath, then opened them again. Whatever softness Jonah had seen in her a minute earlier disappeared behind discipline. "Everyone put your laptops down," she said. "Now." The room obeyed, but fear had already started moving faster than instructions. Phones came out. People looked at each other. Someone asked whether payroll was affected. Someone else said the investor call was in 40 minutes. Jonah stepped toward the conference table. "Don't connect anything else. No charges. No derivas. No personal hotspots." A senior executive with silver hair frowned at him. "Who exactly are you?" Jonah did not look away from the frozen screens. "The guy whose phone still works." The man's face tightened, but Marin lifted one hand. "Let him speak." That simple sentence changed the air. Jonah pulled a chair toward the wall panel and crouched near the backup switch. His hands moved fast, but his breathing stayed steady. Marin noticed that. It unsettled her in a way she could not explain. Everyone else was reacting to the panic. Jonah was listening to it. "Your main system is compromised," he said. But this room had an old failover line. It's separate from the main office network. Kyle nodded quickly. "For emergencies. Nobody uses it." "Good. That neglect may save you." Marin glanced at the old phone in his hand. "And that alert?" Jonah hesitated. There it was. The party did not like opening. "I used to work in cybersecurity," he said. The room went still again. The silver-haired executive gave a short, doubtful laugh. "You repair screens. I repair whatever pays rent." Marin watched Jonah's jaw tighten. Not anger. Restraint. She took one step toward him. "What did you work?" "Farrow and Klein Response Group. 7 years ago." Kyle looked up sharply. "That firm handled the Averson breach." Jonah's hands paused. Marin caught it. "You were there," she said. Jonah kept his eyes on the cables. "I was one of many. That breach destroyed their board," the executive muttered. "It also destroyed my marriage," Jonah said quietly. Nobody answered. The words were not dramatic. They made them heavier. He connected a small diagnostic adapter and used the old phone to dial the number from the emergency binder. The line clicked, crackled, then connected. "This is Jonah Vale," he said. "I'm at Pham Grid headquarters. Active intrusion. Possible credential spread. Need escalation to offline recovery contact." He listened. His face changed. Marin saw the first hint of fear there. "What?" she asked. Jonah covered the receiver. "Their listed backup contact is no longer active." Kyle whispered, "That binder was updated last year." Jonah looked at Marin. "Not well enough." The sentence could have sounded like blame. It did not. It sounded like a fact neither of them could afford to soften. Marin took the binder from the table, flipped through it, and saw signatures, stamps, review dates, neat lines of compliance. A whole system that looked responsible until the moment responsibility mattered. Her throat tightened. "I signed this," she said. Jonah heard the change in her voice. Not shame for being seen. Shame for not seeing. The boardroom door opened, and 2 investors stepped in, confused and irritated. "Marin," one said, "we were told there's a delay." She straightened. "There's a security incident. We are containing it." "Containing it?" the man said. "Do you understand what happens if this leaks before the funding round?" Jonah watched her absorb the pressure without flinching, but he also saw her fingers curl around the binder. For the first time that morning, he did not see a CEO. He saw a young woman standing in a room full of older people waiting for her to fail. Marin looked at Jonah. "Can you get us a clean line?" "Maybe. Can you help us save the customer records?" He held her gaze. "Maybe. But I need authority. Real authority. No quemitis. No ego. No one touching anything because they think their title makes them useful." A few faces hardened. Marin did not blink. "You have it," she said. The silver-haired executive stepped forward. "Marin, you cannot hand control to a contractor." She turned to him, calm and cold. "I'm not handing control to a contractor. I'm listening to the only person in this room who saw the danger before it became expensive." Jonah looked at her then. Something passed between them. Not romance yet. Not trust fully. But respect had entered the room. And it felt more dangerous than panic. Jonah's old phone crackled against his ear. A new voice came through, faint but clear. "Mr. Vale? This is offline response. Confirm breach category." Jonah looked at Marin. She nodded once. He answered, "Category red." "And we're already late." Jonah did not save Pham Grid by typing magic commands or making one heroic phone call. He saved it the way good people fixed real damage. One careful choice at a time. He told Marin to move the investor meeting out of the main conference room. No drama. No speeches. Just a smaller room, printed statements, and one clean speakerphone connected through an outside line. He asked Kyle to gather the department leads without letting them log in again. He made the board stop arguing long enough to admit they did not understand the system they had been praising in reports. And Marin listened. That was what changed everything. She did not pretend to know more than she did. She did not bury the breach behind polished language. When the investors demanded confidence, she gave them honesty. "We're not hiding this," she said, standing at the end of a smaller table with no glowing screens behind her. Our first responsibility is to protect customer data, not protect our image. We're isolating affected systems, working with outside response, and notifying the right people if required. I understand the timing is bad, but trust built on silence is not trust. The room went quiet. Jonah watched from near the door, his old phone still in his hand. For the first time that morning, Marin did not look like someone performing power. She looked like someone choosing responsibility, even while it cost her. The attack did not vanish in an hour. It never worked that way. Some files were locked. Some systems stayed down. The stock price would take a hit. The board would ask hard questions. Customers would be angry. But the worst damage was stopped. The offline backups were intact. The customer records were protected. And Vellum Grid survived because an emergency line no one respected still existed, because an old phone stayed outside the infected network, and because a single dad in a faded work jacket had seen what everyone else was too busy to notice. By sunset, the office had changed. The bright lobby looked tired. Coffee cups sat abandoned on glass tables. People spoke more softly now. The kind of softness that comes after fear teaches humility. Marin found Jonah near the service hallway, packing his tools. "You're leaving?" she asked. "My daughter's school place starts in 40 minutes. Marin looked down. "Nora." He smiled faintly. "You remembered." "I remembered a lot today." Jonah closed the toolbox. "You did well." She gave a small laugh, but it trembled. "I nearly lost the company." "No," he said. "You nearly protected your pride. Then you didn't. That's the part that matters." Marin looked at him for a long moment. The sharp CEO mask was gone now. In its place was someone younger, tired, and more human than she had allowed herself to be all day. "I owe you an apology," she said. "You already said sorry." "I said it because I was embarrassed." She stepped closer. "Now I'm saying it because I understand. I judged you by the thing on your belt instead of the mind behind it." Jonah did not answer immediately. The hallway lights hummed above them. Somewhere far off, a printer restarted like the building was slowly breathing again. "I've been judged by worse," he said. "That doesn't make it acceptable." "No," he said softly. "It just made me careful." Marin nodded, and the honesty between them felt fragile but real. "I'd like to offer you a role," she said. "Not as a favor, not as a headline. A real position. Security resilience. Independent authority. Direct access to me." Jonah studied her. "You trust me that much after one bad day?" "No," she said. "I trust what you did on one bad day. The rest, you'll have to prove." That made him smile. "There's the CEO, and there's the man who tells CEOs when they're wrong." "I'm expensive," he said. "I'm learning not to buy cheap protection." They both laughed quietly. Then Jonah's phone buzzed. He checked it and shook his head. "Nora's wearing the wrong costume and refuses to change." Marin's smile warmed. "Go." He picked up his toolbox. At the elevator, she called after him. "Jonah?" He turned. Her voice softened. "Would it be strange if I came to the play?" He looked surprised. Not suspicious. Just careful. "You had a difficult day," he said. "So did you. My daughter may ask why the CEO lady is there." Marin took a breath. "Tell her the CEO lady needed to see something that still works when everything else goes wrong." Jonah looked at the old phone in his hand, then at her. For the first time all day, he let himself really smile. "Come on then," he said. "But if she asks, you're clapping even if the play is terrible." Marin walked beside him toward the elevator. No assistants, no board members, no polished speech waiting on her tongue. Just a tired young CEO, a single father with an old phone, and the quiet beginning of something neither of them had planned. Later, in the small school auditorium, Nora forgot 2 lines, bowed at the wrong time, and smiled like she had saved the world. Marin clapped first. Jonah noticed, and this time he did not look away.